Can ChatGPT trade? Well, I'm running an experiment to try and find out exactly that. And right now we're at day 22, over a month of trading with ChatGPT every single day. And we've taken a total of 53 trades. So I'm going to break down how it's performing, issues, pros, everything. And the specific breakdown is exactly as you can see on screen. I'm going to talk about the recent results from ChatGPT. ChatGPT is struggling to learn from its mistakes. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the prompt and where it's struggling, also where it's doing quite well. And then I'm going to talk about the fact that it's possibly so bad that it's good. And I'll tell you what I mean by that when I talk about that. And then finally, I want to open the discussion up to you because perhaps it's time to change the prompt, to change the challenge a little bit. So I'm going to open the discussion up to all of you people. So I hope you can give me some interesting insights and ideas. So please stay tuned for that and provide me with some interesting insights. I really hope you can do that. So let's get into the video and let's break it down. So this is part 4 of this series, and we are now over a month trading with ChatGPT. So I've gained a lot of insights in that period, and I'm going to quickly go through the most recent results over here on the Twitter, because I'm doing daily updates on the Twitter, so it's just easier to do it on Twitter. So day 22, and basically since the start of this week, we've taken 3 trades, 2 losses and 1 win for minus $100. So not a great start to the week. And as you can see here, the total results of the challenge, 53 trades, 15 wins and 38 losses, which is a 28% win rate. Obviously, that's terrible, especially considering, I wouldn't even say that's terrible if we had a high RR, but we don't even have a high RR. So it's just terrible. And then we're losing we're currently down minus $1,340, which is minus 13.4% in 1 month. That's not very good. That's not very good at all. So let's look at these 3 most recent trades taken this week. We had a win on Bitcoin, plus $85. Pretty solid trade right there. Then we had a loss on GBP/JPY, which I actually thought this was a decent enough trade, but it didn't work out. And then we had a loss on gold, which again, I thought this was an all right trade, but it got pretty close to TP, but then reverse hit stop loss, another loss. And you can see this is like the most recent 10 trades or so. It's basically a sea of red and a couple wins. And basically that sums up the results of ChatGPT's performance. But there's more to this story than just what you can see in terms of results. There is definitely more to this story because ChatGPT, although it's not performing well, it does provide some very interesting prospects, I would say. So let's get into that. Let's head over back to this screen. I'm going to talk about ChatGPT struggling to learn from its mistakes. So let's dive into actually the ChatGPT platform. Let's really get into the nooks and crannies of the prompt, where it's struggling and where it's doing well. So here we are. Now, for those of you who are really clued in, you will have noticed that I'm actually not using the data analyst GPT anymore. I'm using just the standard ChatGPT 4.0. And the reason I'm not using the data analyst GPT is because I found it to be a little bit unstable. What I mean by that is sometimes it was just down for no reason, while normal ChatGPT was fine. So I found it to not be the best in terms of its stability. So I've opted to just use ChatGPT 4.0. And I've actually found that the results are close to identical. So yeah. Now, as you can see, it's a 2-part prompt, as I explained in my previous videos. First off, I tell it to analyze previous trades. I send in the most recent 10 trades, also tell it to basically analyze all of the previous trades I've sent in across, the whole chat history. And then I tell it to basically give me a response of no more than 5 key points that you draw from the data. Now, as I said, ChatGPT is struggling to learn from its mistakes. And I thought, if you think about it logically, right, you would have said, well, if I'm feeding ChatGPT back all of its losing trades, it should be learning and it should just continuously learn and get better and better and better and better, theoretically. But the problem is, in actuality, it's not doing that. The reality of this is that it doesn't really it can't critically analyze its mistakes and learn from them. And that's what I'm noticing. Like, if you just look at any of these points, obviously you can pause the video, but we'll just go into, let's say, trend confirmation. It says here, trade setups should strongly consider the prevailing trend on the 1 hour chart to increase the likelihood of success. If the 1 hour and 5 minute charts are in agreement regarding the trend direction, the setup typically has a higher chance of success. Now, that's a pretty good point. But the problem is, it kind of gives the same points every single time I tell it to look at its previous trades and learn from them. And they're all super generic points. This is a pretty generic point, and I think that's one of the better points. If we look at, say, risk management, it's crucial to maintain strict risk management rules. Yeah, obviously. Give me something more interesting. You know, if this was a real trader that I was talking to and I said, where do you think you're going wrong? They might give me some more interesting details. They might say, well, I can see that my stop loss is too tight and it keeps getting stopped out. Maybe I could shift it here. You know, we could get some interesting insights. Okay, maybe I could try when the candle closes at this level, etc. Right? Just more interesting insights. These insights are very plain, very generic, and I don't really think it's actually learning from its mistakes, right? Well, it's not, because it's making the same mistakes. Arguably, it's fixed some things here and there, but it's in general not really learning in the way I would want it to be learning. And so that's the one thing that I'm noticing very clearly. Again, this is the second part. Once I tell it to analyze the previous trades, I then send it the most recent live market data for live market analysis. And you can see here I've only sent 4 charts in. The 1 hour and the 5 minute of gold and Bitcoin. And the reason I did that in this instance is because there was already a GBP JPY trade that was running. So I didn't send in GBP JPY because it was a trade already running, right? Now, if you look at the trade ideas, this is where I think ChatGPT is actually quite good, right? Is the accuracy of its analysis is good. And I think this is a very important point to make, because it's easy to just, say everything's terrible, but the reality is it's not. Because if you look at the accuracy, in general, the reasoning is quite good. Now, I explained in the last video how sometimes it's inaccurate, but as a whole, I would say in general, the reasoning is still pretty logical and pretty accurate. For example, the Bitcoin 1 hour chart indicates a bearish trend. Okay, well, let's see. I would say that's accurate, right? This is clearly in a bearish trend. So that's accurate. Consistent lower highs and lower lows, yes. The recent rebound at the 61600 level provides an optimal short entry, anticipating resistance to hold and continuation of the trend. The 5 minute chart shows rejection at these levels, confirming the entry. So it's saying that 61600 provides an optimal short entry because basically price is finding a resistance there. So let's see if that's accurate. So 61600 right here, and again the 5 minute 61600 right here. Now, this is where, again, I explained in the last video, with the levels that it picks, I often find them to be a little bit random, right? 61600, you can see here, isn't really a resistance level. It's kind of just in the middle. It's nothing, right? It's just where price is currently. 61600, no. I would say this is a resistance level, maybe at 662,000. But 61600 isn't really a resistance level. So its identification of levels needs a little bit of work, I would say, if you can say that, right? But in general, I'd say the reasoning is often relatively logical. It does struggle with level selection. And obviously that's probably something that can be worked on in the prompt, which is what we're going to talk about toward the end of this video. So again, we'll quickly look at gold here, this trade idea. The 1 hour chart shows the price stabilizing after a drop with potential support around 2315. Let's see if that's accurate. So we had a drop, price is stabilizing at, what price should say? 2315. 2315. Yeah, pretty accurate. We have had a big drop. Price is kind of stabilizing at 2315. So relatively accurate. The 5 minute chart indicates a recent uptick in buying pressure at the support level, suggesting potential short-term upward move. A long position targets a quick rebound from the support area. Yeah, I mean, you can see here we have kind of created a little support. So it's not terrible reasoning, but I think you can kind of see that there is potential in the fact that it can actually analyze the charts and create somewhat logical and accurate analysis. If we can continue to improve and work on the prompt, I think you can actually utilize that to actually have ChatGPT analyze the charts for you and perhaps have it as an addition to your trading. But when you're completely getting it to just generate trade ideas off its own will, as I am in this challenge, you can see here I'm saying, I want you, I don't know where it is, it says you can trade in whatever style you see optimal, right? When you tell it to do that, it struggles because it just doesn't really have consistency with what it's doing. However, if I told it only trade these specific levels, perhaps it could be much better, right? Perhaps. So that brings us on to the next point. So bad, it's good. That's kind of, I suppose, a summary of the results so far. ChatGPT has been so impressively bad this past month of trading with it that you have to say, is it so bad that it's good? And what I mean by that is if you do the opposite of ChatGPT, well, we would currently be up 13.4%, right? So, it's been impressively good at calling losing trades. And that has to beg the question, is there an edge in doing the opposite to ChatGPT? Now, it's an extremely weird edge to have, right? But as I continue this challenge, I'm starting to see that, it is so consistently bad that it might actually be good in terms of if you do the opposite of it. So that's yet to be fully determined because, as I said, 50 trades is not a huge sample size. 1 month of trading, again, not a huge sample size. But yeah, in many ways, it's been so impressively bad that is good. Now, if anyone wants to actually trade that with live funds and do the opposite of ChatGPT, that's up to them. I probably would never actually do that. It's fun, but I don't know how to actually do that because it's just a little bit unprofessional, I guess. And also, ChatGPT might improve over time, with new updates, etc., and things might quickly change. So I think it's a little bit of a risky one. It's a fun one. It's an interesting thing to test, but I don't know if it's a genuine strategy. If someone tries it, I would love to see how it goes. It's something that I kind of would do for fun, but yeah, in terms of actually putting live funds on it, I don't know about that. Now, so the final thing I want to talk about is it time to change the prompt? And this is where I want to open the discussion up to you guys. We are 53 trades in. We're over a month of trading with ChatGPT, and I can already see very clearly the massive downsides, the massive pitfalls of ChatGPT's trading. Right? You can already see it when you head over to ChatGPT. First off, it's simply not learning from its mistakes. Second off, its selection of levels can be pretty terrible. Obviously, the other massive thing is you just look at the results; they're awful. And yeah, just an overall lack of consistency and a lack of strategy from ChatGPT. I was hoping when I started this challenge that ChatGPT will kind of just kind of create its own strategy, create its own formula to winning. But it hasn't really done that. It's kind of just taken these half-assed trades, kind of, it's just like, yeah, enter in here, put stop loss there, TP there, with no real kind of substance to it. I was hoping ChatGPT would really come in and be like, all right, cool. So we're going to, only, buy at these levels, put stop loss here, and kind of actually have some real logic and reasoning and a real strategy, but it hasn't done that. So, what I'm getting at is it time to change things up? Is it time to really play around with the prompt and shift the challenge around a bit? So I want to see what you guys think, because I'm thinking that now after this, I'll probably do it at the end of this week. I'm thinking of changing the prompt, seeing if we can really improve it, really update it. And what I want to do is I want to get insights from you guys, people who are watching the videos, people who are following along with the prompt. And if someone provides a good idea, I will consider that to update the prompt with that idea. For example, if someone has the idea to, only target 1 to 2 RR, only target 1 to 2 RR. If that gets a lot of likes and people are agreeing, then perhaps I'll update the prompt to change ChatGPT's prompt to actually just do that as part of the prompt. And what we'll do is we'll continuously update the prompt over time, and we'll see if we can actually generate a prompt so good that ChatGPT becomes profitable. And perhaps ChatGPT can be a fantastic trader with the right prompt. But I need insights from you guys to actually give me great ideas so that we can slowly, over time, build a fantastic prompt. And the way I want you to do is just put comments in, and whichever comments get the most likes, do it on Twitter, whatever platform you want to do it. You can do it on here on YouTube, you can do it on Twitter, wherever. And if certain comments get a lot of likes, certain suggestions get a lot of likes, I'll actually do that. I'll put that in the prompt, and we'll see if we can actually get ChatGPT profitable. Because right now it lacks direction, it lacks consistency, it's terrible, it's bleeding money. So we'll see if we can actually do that. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hope this gives you some insight into ChatGPT's ability to trade. And stay tuned for the upcoming videos. And also drop a comment on it if you have any suggestions for the prompt. Thanks for watching.